Hey everybody, and welcome to the newest edition of our chess opening survey. Today's an exciting edition. We're going to start the Evans Gambit today. If you'll remember, last time we did a video, it was about the fried liver, which e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and knight f6, where we play knight g5 and attack f7. Today we're going to show you what to do if your opponent plays bishop c5, which is a very popular move. And a lot of times, the normal variations are like d3 and the Italian game, which I'll go over some other time, which is not quite as dynamic or aggressive. But we're going to go for the very aggressive Evans Gambit, which with some people has a bad reputation, but I actually think it's a very good opening. Even the top level players sometimes have issues defending this position with black. I think white can get at least an equal game in all the variations, and in some variations he gets a devastating attack. So in my opinion, black really needs to know what he's doing against this, or he's going to be in huge trouble. So I wouldn't mind playing this at all over the board against anybody. So I look forward to going through this series with you. It'll probably be several videos because there's a lot of different lines. So what I want to do, though, is start off with a game from our American favorite, Bobby Fischer, just to give you a little taste of what we're looking at here. And so, like I said, this is our main starting position for the Evans Gambit, and we play the move b4. So we give up a pawn. Black can just take this b4 pawn. The idea is that this is going to allow us to play c3 and attack the bishop, and then play d4. And we're building up a strong center. And in the meantime, once we've already cleared this path for the bishop to get out, and once we play c3, we'll have cleared this path for the queen to get out. So we get very quick development, and we get a big center. So that adequately compensates us for the pawn that we sacrificed. In this position, there's many different moves that black can play. Bishop c5, bishop a5, bishop d6, bishop e7. But we're going to go through all those at some point. And then there's also other moves that black can play, like he can actually decline the gambit. He can play bishop b6. And then once you play in these different variations, whether it's bishop a5, c5, d6, or e7, then there's other side variations that we'll also go into. So a lot to dive into here. In this game, black played the most popular move, bishop a5. Fischer played d4, pawn takes d4, and castles. This is the most popular line. I actually prefer queen b3 here myself, but both moves are very playable. And Fischer has now officially given away 2 pawns. He plays queen b3, which is very normal, attacking this pawn here. Black defends it with the queen. And then Fischer regains one of his pawns, but he is still down 2 pawns. Probably the most typical move here for black would be to take this knight with the bishop here, but black decides to try to develop a piece instead, and surprisingly, that's actually a bad move. So already in this position, black has a terrible position without seemingly have done much wrong here. Fischer plays knight d5, attacking the queen. Knight takes, pawn takes, knight e5. Black here did have to worry about stuff like bishop a3 attacking the queen. Probably the main thing to think about in the Evans Gambit is to prevent the black king from castling. If black can get castled and still have his pawn advantage, you probably are in trouble. So a lot of times this bishop a3 move prevents the black king from castling. And then another thing to think about here is this open file with the queen on it. Now, the bishop is protecting that square right now, so it's not being threatened yet, but it's definitely something to think about. Knight e5, knight takes e5, queen takes e5, and now bishop b2. So these bishops these bishops on these diagonals are monsters. And then, like I said, you've got open files for the rooks. This is a great position for the white pieces. Black cannot defend this. Queen g5. And white distracted the queen here with this h4 move so that he could take this pawn. And the reason I wanted to show you this game in particular was because this is a really cool move that white has here to finish the game off. So you can pause your video here for a second if you want to take a look and see what the winning move is. But basically, you're either going to win the queen or checkmate the black king. So I'll give you a second to pause or look this over if you want. And I'm going to play the move now. Queen g3. So one thing to remember when you're looking for tactics is removing the defender. And you'll notice if this queen wasn't here, white could play bishop f6 check. And the rook cuts off this file for the king, which would be the only escape squares. So that would be checkmate. So if black was to take this queen now, white could indeed do his bishop f6 idea with checkmate. The only problem for black is if he does anything else, then white's going to take his queen. So black actually resigned here, and a beautiful victory for the Evans Gambit without seemingly too much thought process, just doing the simple moves and getting his pieces activated. So I will show you guys one more video here quickly. One more game, excuse me. Let me just go ahead and pull that up. All right, let's show one from Garry Kasparov. Copy game and paste. So this is Kasparov versus Anand, who was a 5-time world champion who lost in this Evans Gambit. So obviously there's some bite to it. So we're getting into our normal position. Black accepts the gambit and moves his bishop all the way back to e7. Kind of a defensive move, but we're still going to get an attack here. There's a lot of different variations involved here. I'll show you some as we go along throughout the series. But as you can tell, like I said, white has good scope for this bishop. His queen's on a good central square, eyeing the king side. He already has these pieces developed, and black's lagging behind in development, and black has no control over the center whatsoever. So definitely very good compensation here for white. Black tries to get developed as fast as he can, but then that just runs into e5. And, black took time out to attack white's queen, so white just moves the queen away, and he's still attacking this knight on f6. Once the knight on f6 moves, the white queen settles into this beautiful g3 square, just putting pressure down on the king side. If black was to castle now, he would run into bishop h6 ideas, and it's just something that you don't want to castle into. So just play g6, and white just castles. He's got plenty of compensation, he knows it, and he's just playing normal moves now. He doesn't need to prove anything else, he just needs to play a good game from here out. So again, just developing pieces onto good squares, getting the open file from the Evans Gambit here with the rook on the queen. And this is a good move. Another one, like I told you, white just puts this here and prevents black from castling. So he's achieved his goal of keeping the black king in the center, and white's doing really well here. Typically, when you're down pieces, you don't want to trade pieces, but white's position is so good here that he can afford to get rid of a little bit of the pieces, because black really doesn't have anywhere to put his king. So again, some more pieces get traded down, but the big thing to look at here is black's king is stuck in the center. And this knight is beautifully posted here. And here Kasparov finds a beautiful move, rook to e1. So the queen and the rook are on this file. The knight's also attacking it. You know, if black just made kind of a normal looking move here, there's all sorts of issues here. For example, simply like, you know, bishop f3, and now you've got 3 pieces attacking this, and something like bishop h6. You know, you could even just take this off right now. Black is getting totally crushed. So those are a couple quick games from 2 of the great players in history using the Evans Gambit against very strong competition, and just to show you some of the dynamic possibilities that are there. So we'll go over more details of the variations in the future videos. I hope you subscribe, and you can learn a lot from this and start playing the Evans Gambit in your own games. Thanks, and have a great day.